The fight week started with a dull event, but indeed it ended very well, giving fight fans some memorable moments as well as upsets they are not gonna forget very soon. This week we had some intriguing MMA, boxing and grappling matches, so wasting no time, let's start the video and check every important fight that happened this week. Fight week started on Friday night in Abu Dhabi with a grappling event which did carry interest to the MMA community as it featured two UFC legends Uriah Faber and Chad Mendes in their co-main event and main event. Uriah Faber took on Bibiano Fernandes 18 years after their first fight, which he had won via round 1 TKO. These two had an interesting back and forth match with a few takedowns and sweeps from both players, but a slight edge to Faber in the exchanges which warranted the judges' nod. Then in the co-main event, Chad Mendes used his wrestling to win a unanimous decision against Diego Brandao, who replaced Kevin Lee on short notice. ONE FC also had its combat sports event on Friday night, where the co-main event was also a grappling fight between their strawweight grappling champion Daniel Kelly and 9-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion Mayssa Bastos. Kelly lost the belt in her first title defense via unanimous decision, and now Bastos is the new ONE grappling strawweight champion. The main event was for the interim strawweight belt between former champ Jared Brooks and number 3 ranked Gustavo Ballard. Why was this one a special fight? Do you remember UFC 304 main event when Bilal Muhammad threw Leon Edwards on his head? Brook won the belt from Pacquiao and did the same in their rematch. And guess what? He got disqualified and lost the belt, as throwing your opponent headfirst is illegal in ONE FC. Moreover, instead of getting the immediate trilogy fight, he had to go through Gustavo Ballard this week, and Brook needed only one round to do so. Brooks shot in, dragged his man to the canvas and clung to his back like an octopus. From there, the monkey god swam his tentacles over, around and through the arms of Ballard until he was able to apply a rear naked choke. Before the Cuban could sink into unconsciousness, he tapped at 4 minutes and 39 seconds mark of round 1. With the win, Brooks not only set up the world title unification fight with Pacquiao, he celebrated the win by calling out ONE flyweight MMA world champion Demetrius Johnson. Also on Friday, with the PFL 7 card in Nashville, the finals of women's flyweight and men's heavyweight division are set. In the heavyweight division, Denise Goltsov and Oleg Popov fight their tickets to a November matchup in different ways. As for the women's 125-pounders, Dakota Dechiva and Tyla Santos did the same. Denise Goltsov punched his ticket to a second straight heavyweight PFL final with a TKO win over Tim Johnson. Goltsov is 8-1 in his past 9 outings. His only loss came in the 2023 PFL heavyweight playoff final when Renan Ferreira knocked him out. On the other hand, Oleg Popov racked up 12 takedowns and a lot of ground control time on his way to a decision win over Lyndon Vassell. The crowd was frustrated by Popov's grinding style, but it is hard to fault him for taking the path of least resistance when a short of $1 million was on the line. If we talk about the flyweight semifinals, Liz Carmouche was docked a point for missing weight. So after Tyla Santos won the first round thanks to her striking and a takedown, she then employed a more defensive style to get the win. The bout was not an exciting one, as Santos' main goal was to prevent Carmouche from getting a finish, and she did that perfectly to stay healthy and move on to the flyweight finals for a chance to win $1 million. Meanwhile, Dechiva was the star of the night. The 26-year-old remained unbeaten with her 8th straight finish, stopping Gina Bishop in the first round after a nasty knee to the head. The upcoming match with former UFC title challenger Talia Santos sets up this rising star with the stiffest test of her career, and one that could give the MMA world an idea of Dechiva's upside and future potential. Saturday night's action started with a stacked UFC Abu Dhabi card where the headliner Umar Nurmagomedov entered the octagon as the number 10 ranked competitor in the promotion's 135-pound division, and now he is the next title contender. Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov had an enjoyable 5-round scraps in the main event of UFC Abu Dhabi, with Nurmagomedov winning by unanimous decision. There was criticism that he had not defeated anyone of note before UFC Abu Dhabi, but with a dominant win over the number 2 ranked bantamweight, those questions should be put to rest.
Doesn't matter for me who gonna be next. Just give me title shot.
In another top bantamweight bout, former flyweight champion Davison Figueiredo used a solid mix of wrestling and striking to score the biggest win of his UFC bantamweight run, cruising to a decision win over former 135-pound title challenger Marlon Vera. With the win where he became the first fighter to score a knockdown on the resilient Vera, Figueiredo moved to 3-0 in the bantamweight division, calling for a title shot in his next outing, which we know is almost given to Nurmagomedov. Although UFC promoted these two fights more, the old fans' eyes were on Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. Fans wanted only one thing, and that was seeing Ferguson win a fight who was on a 7-fight losing skid. Fans didn't get what they wanted, as it was Chiesa who broke his 3-fight losing skid. Chiesa waited to find a spot to land a takedown against the slumping Ferguson, and once he put the fight on the mat, Chiesa slickly took Ferguson's back and locked in a rear naked choke that ended the bout at 3 minutes and 44 seconds of round 1. Bonus points for Chiesa giving his time on the mic to Ferguson after his victory.
These people love you, man. Everybody loves you.
Mackenzie Dern also emerged victorious and remains the top strawweight contender, but the days of discussing Dern as a potential title challenger are in the past. Yes, she won on Saturday, ending a 2-fight losing streak, but it's questionable how much this victory will help her. Undefeated Rishin Sharamagomedov also picked a unanimous decision win, and now with 3 straight victories in the promotion, the jury is out on just how high Sharamagomedov can climb in the UFC. And Azamat Murzakanov also kept his perfect record intact, moving to 14-0 with 10 knockouts with a nasty stoppage win over Alonzo Manifield in the closing fight of the UFC Abu Dhabi prelims. He entered the bout as number 14 ranked light heavyweight, and this win was a good statement for top dogs of the division. Along with the GFC card, there were 3 boxing cards as well on Saturday night. First, there was Conor McGregor's BKFC event, where Britain Hart successfully defended her BKFC strawweight belt for the 3rd time with a unanimous decision over Taylor Starling in the main event of BKFC 63. After her 3rd successful title defense, she now has the record for most successful title defenses for female fighter in BKFC history. In boxers card, top 15 super middleweights collided, where the undefeated English Callum Simpson overcame Zach Kelly in hometown triumph to win British and Commonwealth Championship by a dominant unanimous decision. His hometown crowd erupted in sheer delight when he was announced as the new champion after 12 rounds fought with intensity and determination. Local favorite and unbeaten IBO lightweight world champion Caroline Dubois, who is the younger sister of IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois, was also featured in the co-main event, where she challenged Maria Moneo for her WBC interim belt. In round 5, the pair had the fans on their feet with a heated exchange, and then in round 6, Dubois dropped Moneo with an overhand left to the chin. Moneo beat the count, but it was another clear round in favor of Dubois. The official scores were 100-90, all in favor of Dubois, who has now set herself up as the future opponent for current WBC lightweight champion Katie Taylor. And then finally the weekend ended with a big Riyadh season pay-per-view, where pound for pound number 1 and the only 2 divisions undisputed champion in modern boxing history, Terence Crawford, moved up another division and challenged Israel Madrimov for his 154 pounds WBA belt, as well as for the vacant WBO interim belt. Terence Crawford, who was riding an 11-fight knockout streak, looked like a mortal on Saturday night, squeaking by a close 12-round unanimous decision, which he pulled out in the final 2 rounds, landing the better shots. 2 judges had Crawford down entering the 11th round, but the all-time great swept both rounds to get the win.
As champion, he deserved more respect on those scorecards. That was a fight that could have gone either way.
Crawford's decision victory over Madrimov is his first distance fight since July 2016. Though the win was void of a highlight reel knockout, it was a strategic sweet science that Crawford made sure to edge Madrimov. Afterwards, Crawford maintained the ambition to move up and face Canelo Alvarez.
Well, if the money's right, we gotta fight.
Jose Valenzuela scores the split decision upset victory over 5-1 favorite Isaac Cruz to become the new WBA junior welterweight champion. Valenzuela's disciplined approach and effective use of his jab and footwork allowed him to outbox Cruz and secure the victory. Cruz, on the other hand, struggled to find his rhythm and was unable to land a knockout blow. After being upset, he asked for a rematch with Valenzuela. WBA regular super middleweight champion David Morrell also made his light heavyweight debut, taking on Radivoje Kalajic for vacant WBA regular light heavyweight belt. He beat Kalajic by unanimous decision to become the 2 divisions champion. Tougher fight than many expected, but still a solid win for Morrell. After the win, Morrell called out David Benavidez, who is supposed to fight the Petri BF Bible winner, because with this win, he also positioned himself to become the mandatory challenger for the Petri BF Bible winners. Former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. also made his return to the ring for the first time in nearly 2 years as he faced Jarrell Miller, who lost 40 pounds preparing for this fight. Ruiz banged early rounds, but as fatigue set in, Miller dug his way back in. He pushed Ruiz back and controlled the action and seemingly done enough to win this fight, but the fight ended in a controversial majority draw. One judge scored it for Miller, but 2 other judges scored it 114-114. Afterwards, Ruiz says he has injured his hand but expresses the interest to run it back. Miller says he knows he did enough to win. Despite the card being stacked with current and former champions, it was unranked heavyweight Martin Bakole who stole the spotlight and knocked out America's future of heavyweight boxing, Jared Anderson, in round 5 after knocking him down in the first round. A left hook, right uppercut, left, right put Anderson down in the opening round. Anderson got up on his feet but stood on jelly legs before the second round began. Bakole literally walked through Anderson's shot to land heavy-handed blows. Then in round 5, an accumulation of shots leads to a sneaky uppercut which crumbles Anderson to the canvas. Anderson rises from the count, but Bakole greets him once more with an uppercut followed by 2 punishing straight right hands, and Anderson is down again. Anderson again makes it to his feet and again is blasted with straight rights, and that's it. The referee steps in to save Anderson from suffering more thumping damage at the heavy hands of Martin Bakole. Bakole mentioned earlier this week that he has dropped Alexander Usyk as well in a sparring before. The punch that dropped Usyk was to the body and the sparring ended shortly after. I hope we can see this fight before Usyk's retirement. And now that's all. Like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you want more. Share your thoughts and comments and then do whatever you want.